Cadet Senior Master Sergeant Granados.
I'm Cadet Senior Master Sergeant Perla.
I'm Cadet Tech Sergeant Philson.
I am Cadet Senior Airman Elmore.
And I'm Cadet Airman First Class Campos Lopez.
We are a part of the Palm Springs Composite Squadron 11, and this is our pre-launch video for the Civil Air Patrol 2023 National AE High Altitude Balloon Cadet Challenge.
The High Altitude Balloon Challenge is a way for cadets to get handsy with the stratosphere with use of high altitude balloons. We choose a payload to send to the atmosphere and observe how the objects within the payload react to the environmental changes outside the payload.
And once the payload reaches peak altitude, we will then observe what happened to our objects that we sent up and compare them to the control that we have down here on the Earth in our own squadron office.
Here we have the objects that we choose to send in the stratosphere. The objects are a rubber band, a popcorn kernel, and bubble wrap. Why did we choose these things, you are probably wondering. Well, why don't we find out?
Our first chosen object are these rubber bands. They're the same in size and unstretched fresh from the bag. What we think will happen is if we send these rubber bands up to the stratosphere and exposed to radiation along with a significant increase in temperature, the rubber bands will no longer be malleable and will snap.
We will now be having popcorn kernels, which we'll also send up to the stratosphere. The reason we are doing this is because we believe that once we send them up to the stratosphere, the increased pressure and temperature that will happen as they go up in altitude may or may not cause the popcorn kernels to pop.
That brings us to our final object, bubble wrap. We chose this object for our payload because we believe that when the pressure increases alongside with the altitude, the bubbles will pop and or deflate with the bubble wrap, leaving us with little to no bubbles.
Here's the final badge design. The main idea I want to express this badge was to show how cadets can play an active role in aerospace experimentation, as can be seen with the Civil Air Patrol logo on Earth and the High Altitude Balloon Challenge logo in space. To represent the location of our squadron in Palm Springs, California, I included a palm tree, which is a recognizable feature of our local environment. Towards the top of the design, 5 stars can be noted, which are meant to represent the 5 pillars of wellness and resilience in the Air Patrol.
Overall objective when participating in this challenge and choosing the objects we did for our payload was to observe how objects of differing compositions react to sudden changes in the surrounding environment. Each of the objects that we chose are affected by certain elements in the environment, such as pressure, temperature, and radiation exposure.
Thank you for joining us cadets from Civil Air Patrol Squadron 11 located here in Palm Springs.